Hey, yo.
If I can be serious for a minute.
Oh, yeah. Acknowledge me.
Well, we're finally here. Dreams
Monday.
do come true. A Monday in January 2023. Fellas, we have arrived to our 100th episode. We are at triple digits. How are we feeling today, man? I know I've been pretty excited all day to have this one today, boys.
This is weird. It's weirded me out a little bit. Like, it's so weird.
We're on. It's going to be 3 digits. It's crazy, man. I mean, we made it to 100, the century mark.
Remember like 3 months ago, and we're like, okay, we're at like episode like 70 something. Now we're like, 100. That was like 9 years away. 100 episodes. Jesus fucking Christ. Look at us go. I hope we spend this next hour just completely jerking ourselves off like the entire time.
We're marks for ourselves.
Yes, we are. And it's 100. I think we've earned that title at this point in time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to spend the next 2 hours putting ourselves over. So
God, yeah.
Dylan Hager just dropped in the chat. Thank you, Dylan. He is a big avid listener of the podcast. Thank you for the happy 100. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you for listening. I know he'll hear this as well. So I'm excited, man. I hear that we got a little surprise today to kick the show off. AJ?
So we got a little message from someone. You know, it's our 100th episode. It's a big deal, and we
okay.
Just
I don't
someone
know anything
wanted
about this. I'm fired up.
Someone wanted to say hi and talk a little bit about
Don't make me
100th
cry.
episode. So
Stay out of my.
hit it.
All right, guys, what's going on? DB Primo, first off, let me congratulate you on your 100th episode of Sit Down Marks podcast. I'm happy for you. I'm glad it's a up and going podcast. I know we're leaving somebody out, but does it really matter that AJ's a part of this? Because he really contribute? I mean, you guys talk nice about me all the time, and then AJ sits over there in the corner like a little bitch and doesn't say anything and just wants to talk about how the feud with me and him. First of all, there is no feud, AJ, because I don't even know who you are. So for me to know who you are would mean that I'd have to know who you are, and I don't. So that means me and you got nothing going on. Other than I'm better than you, and that's just how it goes, and you're not even close to me because you couldn't even warm me up, let alone even lace up my boots. If I had laces in my boots, because we all know I don't. But I'll tell you what, you can pull my Velcro across. You can take my little underwears that I wear. You can put them on me, make sure that they fit tight, because that's about all you're good for. So, and of course, if you're not down with that, well, you know what? If you're not down with the Mark's podcast, we got 2 words for you. Scissor me.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Mr. Billy Gunn, for that fucking heartfelt and kind message. I feel very small.
Sitting in the corner like a little bitch.
Like a little bitch.
I am flabbergasted. The guy that AJ's had the most heat with the first 100 episodes of this podcast sends us a message to let us know there is no heat because AJ just sits over in the corner like a little bit. Are you kidding me, man? Like Billy fucking Gunn, like one of the most popular guys in wrestling right now, like the Scissor Me Daddy himself, just sent us a message. Holy shit. That's great. That's great.
Billy Gunn says hi to you two, and congratulations. I'm just gonna go sit in the corner now, where I belong, holding his
a big go
undies.
fuck yourself to you.
Yeah.
Holy shit,
That is little underwears for him, AJ.
His little underwears.
Oh man, I loved it first. It took me a second to figure out who it was, and then when he kept talking, I'm like, oh, wow. Man, that was awesome. Thank you, guys. That was pretty fucking cool.
Oh, yeah.
Don't thank us. Thank Billy Gunn.
He sounded pretty happy to do it. So
that guy eats ranch on his eggs.
He does eat ranch on his eggs. And, I think it's time, 100 episodes. I think it's time that we squash the feud with, my feud with Billy Gunn.
Okay.
Because proper burial today.
Mainly because I kind of love Billy Gunn. Like for the past, I don't know, like 6 months or whatever. I'm like, all right, so Billy Gunn is actually pretty fucking awesome. And so yeah, let's just I'm gonna officially kill the feud with Billy Gunn and pick it up with someone else. I don't know.
Thanks, Billy Gunn. We appreciate the congrats on our 100th episode.
Yeah, that was so amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much. That's so cool.
Yes. Thank you so much, Billy. That was really awesome, man. That's good stuff. Good stuff. All right, boys. Well, yeah, we have definitely arrived now to episode 100. What a way to kick off the show. Let's thank the sponsors and everybody listening on all the podcast platforms out there, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, and all those many others. But mainly, SportzWire Online Radio, Thomas Bryce, right before the Thomas Bryce Show every Friday throughout the week, as he's done basically from the beginning of the podcast. He's been with us from basically day one. And we thank him so much. And just want to remind everybody to leave us that 5-star review on whatever platform you listen from, whether it's good or bad. We'll take it. I said thanks, sponsors. We don't have any at the moment. So maybe we'll go retro here. We'll go, from the old days that kind of kicked off the pod. We used to have Coastland. We used to have Jet Designs. We still that
one drink?
We still put some
Rowdy. Please don't make us drink Rowdy again.
We used to also have Rowdy Energy.
Why do you
cotton candy.
That I still have in my refrigerator from whatever episode we stopped listening.
It's like barfing on a tilt-a-whirl.
Yes. So after today, I'm throwing this away because I was saving them away to show you for the
wow. I hadn't seen a can
These
one of those
will
in
go
a long
unopened
time.
because they're awful. Rowdy.
They are disgusting. How bad was it that we had to drink those every episode? Like, what flavor do you got? Cat piss and asbestos flavored fucking Rowdy piss.
That's right. Yeah. So, we'll throw back to the early days. So, good stuff.
Coastland, however, still make good stuff. I like.
Yeah, they do. I do. I wear a lot of their clothes.
Me too.
We're not affiliated with them anymore, but Jason's still a good dude.
They still make quality products.
Yeah, they still make great clothes, and we still always wear those from time to time.
Yeah, but fuck you, Rowdy.
All right, so it's time to kick off this pod number 100. Just like every other pod since we've been starting the jukebox, it hasn't been a thing since the beginning. But
it's been like 50 episodes, though.
Yeah, something like that. So let's see what the old Jukety box has.
Jukety box.
Episode number 100, as Primo calls it.
Also known as.
I hear voices in my head. They count to me. They understand. They talk to me.
Who's that?
Who? That's Mr. RKO.
Who is that gentleman with his sperm snake?
I mean, that specifically is Rev Theory, but Randy Orton, yes.
Rev Theory. Fuck off, Rev Theory.
Do you guys think that one is in the category of some of the most popular out there? Because like when the glass breaks, you know it's Stone Cold.
If you hear "I have all," you
know it's Randy immediately.
Yeah. And when that hits sometime this year, it's gonna go. People are gonna go nuts.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's iconic. And as much as I love like Shinsuke or Finn, like their music is fucking awesome, they're not iconic. Like when that hits, it's done. Like it's Randy Orton. You know it's a legend. Even though he's still going. Well, I hope he comes back. But yeah.
It's not amazing. Often that I like the before and after versions of people's music, but I liked his Burning My Light song before this, and this one equal. So this one definitely has superseded that one due to tenure, obviously, and popularity.
Yeah,
he hears voices in his head. He's a snake.
He does.
That was my impression of a snake.
I always think, like my biggest memory of Randy Orton is when he was stalking Stephanie.
I remember I like
Triple H feud
when he had a Triple H handcuffed to the ring post, and he RKO'd Stephanie and kissed her on the mouth right in front of Triple H. Randy Orton's a bad man.
Oh, that's some heel shit, man.
My favorite Randy Orton is the Firefly or the House of Horrors match that he did with Bray Wyatt. Mainly because I loved it so much. It was the most wrestling bollocks that you could possibly have in one segment. And the best part about it is that Bray Wyatt had throw pillows on his couch. That made me laugh so goddamn much.
He doesn't seem like a throw pillow guy.
Yeah, there's like baby heads hanging all over the place, like blood all over, like dirt, and then throw pillows.
These nice throw pillows.
They were very. He looked like he got them from Home Goods.
Yeah, but a nice set of Bed Bath & Beyond throw pillows.
So
all right, everybody, welcome to the show. I am the Dirty Bird.
Dirty Furd.
I'm the Dirty Fur. Let me start over again. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am the Dirty Bird.
Furd.
Now, before I get started here, we just talked about him just a few minutes ago. Thomas Bryce, this guy, he's been a big part of our start of our podcast. He basically picked us up and put us on SportzWire online radio, and we've been there basically ever since in the beginning. And being the cool dude that he is, man, he sent us an audio clip in today. So some of us haven't heard this, so excited to hear what Thomas has to say. So here it is, Thomas Bryce.
Sit down, Marks fans. It's the host of the Sports Report and the owner of SportzWire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce, and I want to extend my congratulations to Dirty Bird, Primo, and AJ on hitting the century mark, as today's Sit Down Marks is the big 100th episode. And guys, it feels like yesterday that we connected back in the old Sportnarium days when the station was run out of the UK, and since then you've gone on to become big players in the professional wrestling world. You've been at a number of wrestling shows, and you've interviewed the likes of SportzWire Radio's dear friends such as TNT Ignition World Heavyweight Champion, the Natural Born Fighter R.P. Davis, KOW Showcase Champion, the Cumbrian Outlaw Rick Marcus, and that's why the Sit Down Marks in the last 2 years have become the number one wrestling radio show, and well, you've made SportzWire Radio the number one global radio station. So it's the Reverend Tom Bryce, the host of the Sports Report, the owner of SportzWire Radio, and thank you guys for everything. I hope one day to be on the show with you guys and talk some wrestling and who knows what else. And if you like what you hear from us on SportzWire Radio, please give us a like anytime on Facebook at SportzWire Radio. Subscribe to our YouTube page at SportzWire Radio, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you can listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player, where you probably find a Sit Down Mark show or two, and you can hear this show and every new Sit Down Mark show Fridays, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you guys, and Primo, Dirty Bird, and AJ, congratulations again from the host of the number one global radio station that is SportzWire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce, and we'll talk with you guys soon. And everybody, enjoy the show.
He's quite the promo, isn't he?
I fucking love that. Fucking Thomas Bryce, the man.
That
so
almost
much,
brought
Thomas.
a tear to my eye. That was so good. All right, now you see why we always say, that number one.
Yes,
that's the guy. That's the guy.
That's
if
him.
You didn't know, man.
He's so awesome too.
Man, he was
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Bryce.
Yeah, he is the ultimate hype man. He plugs the shit out of us, and I love it. Like he's so good at what he does, and you know, he's a station manager. You know, like I said, and you know, like he said, since the beginning, and you know, and a lot of stuff has happened for our podcast because of him, because of them, and you know, they helped us. You know, helped us get our feet wet, basically. You know, and a lot of instances with this.
Our global exposure started with Sportnarium.
It's because of Mr. Thomas Bryce.
Sure. I could not tell you how excited and pumped we felt. Not only that first time, but probably it didn't wear off for quite a while. I don't know how long it lasted, but I know it lasted a while. But the very first time we knew we were going to be on internet radio, right? The first time we were going to be on SportzWire, well, it was Sportnarium radio back then before SportzWire. But, you know, and we were coming on that Friday, and we were, you know, we had our phones out, our computers, you know what I mean? And the first time our voices hit that, knowing we were basically going worldwide, you know, now it's used to be still is a UK based radio, internet radio, but it can be heard anywhere. But yeah, like that's when I kind of felt like, okay, we're really doing something here. We're, you know, like this is serious now, because we're, you know, this guy is helping us, and you know, and here we are, 100 episodes, and Thomas has been a big part of that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, he's the one who helped us connect with the likes of like RPD, Rick Marcus, And we've had him RPD on him a couple times. We had a great conversation with Rick Marcus, and we basically expanded our listenership over there in the UK because of our affiliation with at the time Sportinarium, now SportzWire. So we can't thank Thomas Bryce enough.
Yeah, whatever he saw in us three fucking wrestling idiots, he kind of ran with us, and he was like, "All right, you guys are with us now," and I couldn't be more grateful. Like the fact that was a thing, and it still continues to be a thing. It's mind blowing to us.
Yeah, and not only that is one other thing too. I want to say before we step off of this subject. Not only that, but he gave us a fucking prime time slot.
Hell yeah! Right before,
I mean? right before his show, because he was the main show. He's always been the main show on the station, and it was. I think there when we first started, we might have been before he is. And then we were after for a minute, and then he put us, and then we've been back before his shows came on. So we've always been very grateful for that. And at least if nobody heard our podcast, they probably maybe at least heard it the last 30 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever.
Getting ready to listen to Tom.
Getting ready to listen to Tom. So we were very appreciative of that. And, those little things can go a long way for a podcast like ours, and that's why, like, every time we hit a milestone, like when we told you we were in the top 70 in wrestling podcasts, whether it's downloads or just getting the word out there, like Thomas Bryce is always one of the first guys that comes out of my mouth for helping to get there because, like I said, we went global once, we linked up with Thomas, and it couldn't have been more fun. Of course he's going to be on the podcast one day. We've often talked about this, just hasn't happened. I'm looking forward to like having a slice of pizza with him one day or something.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, me too.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to that. But thank you once again, Thomas. Awesome. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for, taking on a couple of guys that had an idea for a podcast and helping us out. And here we are. We didn't know if we would do 10. We wouldn't know if we'd do 20, but here we are at 100. And, you've had a lot to do with that. So thank you once again, Thomas. And I was glad to get your voice on our show so people could hear who we're thinking and talking about and stuff too later on. But thanks again. So, all right, boys, let's go, man. It's time to talk about what we're going to talk about. So today's going to be a special one, obviously. I didn't know, as I just said, if we would make it to 10 pods, let alone 100. So we're going to do our best to give an awesome podcast today, starting with Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill reactions. We'll be jumping on that right off the bat here shortly. And I will be taking on Mr. Lucha Daddy himself, Primo, in a game of Last Man Standing that AJ will host this time around. We will also talk about the latest in headlines, update you guys on the King of the Mountain standings, and much more. And finally, in celebration of making it to 100 podcasts, we put together a little segment of our previous guests who've been on the show. We're going to talk about each guest that's been on the show, when they were on, where we were as a podcast when we had that guest on, that kind of stuff, just small little things that we talked about. So we will cover over that. And maybe, it'll spike your curiosity to go back and listen to one of these interviews. We do have a couple little sound bites for you, some little snippets from some of these interviews. So we're going to be playing some of those and some of the little funny moments of those that happened. And then also, obviously, we're going to take a minute to reflect on the show's past. So here's to 100 podcasts, boys. If you guys are ready, man, let's have some fun to kick this thing off, Primo.
What up, Mr. Cage Tyler, sweetheart?
This is the wild child, Connor Hopkins.
This is Christian Rose. Yo, this is the most dope, CJ Esparza.
This is the Croc Rocket, Nickelback poppin', curls for all the girls, the Perminator, Sam Beal.
And you are listening to the Sit Down Marks podcast.
And you are listening to the Sit Down Marks podcast with DB, Primo, and AJ.
With Primo, DB, and AJ on the Sit Down Marks podcast.
And I am on the Sit Down Marks podcast, and we're going to get some perfection today.
All right. Nope. let's see. Yeah, next week we're back to work. Iron Spirit Pro, January the 27th, Friday. Iron Spirit presents Brotherhood. If you're watching right now on YouTube, right here is the poster for it. We're going to crown the first ever Iron Spirit Pro Tag Team Champions. 815, Sabotage Sean and Gunnar Brave versus Technical Difficulties, Moses and Raheem. It's going to be a big show if you're in the Normal area. January 27th, we'll be talking about that show. Next week, AJ and I will be breaking down that card that's been announced so far. And then also coming up February the 11th, we're going to be Hacksaw Jim Dugging It Up that night. He's going to be at LaSalle, Illinois for Dreamwave, February the 11th. And Christian Rose is going to be coming on the podcast here soon to talk about that show. So we'll be talking about that also coming up here. So, all right, last weekend for recap, we had Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill. Primo, tell us these results, man. Let's see how we did.
So, for the pre-show, we had Kushida versus Mike Bailey versus Bhupinder Gujjar versus Yu Yamura versus Al Angels versus Action, Mike Jackson.
That was very enthusiastic.
Mike Jackson.
With Kushida coming out with a victory. Next up in the main card, we had Jonathan Gresham versus Eddie Edwards. We all three went for Jonathan Gresham here. Unfortunately, Eddie Edwards is the victor.
Got the win.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't catch this match.
However,
I saw everything from here on down. But
so yeah, after this match, PCO returned and attacked Eddie. So
I missed that part. Nice. Okay.
Next up, we had the Falls Count Anywhere match between Rich Swann versus Steve Maclan, and the Falls Count Anywhere resulted in Steve Maclan taking the victory.
He whooped his ass all over Atlanta, Georgia. Baby.
Sweet tea in hand.
Sweet tea in hand. Woo!
That's right. For the number one contendership four-way match for the Impact Knockouts World Title, number one contendership. How many times can I say number one contendership? It was Masha Slamovich versus Taylor Wilde versus Deonna Purrazzo versus Killer Kelly. And of course, we all went with Masha Slamovich, who, of course, was the winner.
Woo! Yep. Fuck yeah. About goddamn time. Our girl Masha. I fucking love her.
Last week, I was right that most of the Machine Guns are the Impact Tag Team Champions already. Okay. They are just also the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Openweight Tag Team Champions as well. So, Motor City Machine Guns versus Heath and Rhino versus Matt Cardona and Brian Myers versus Chris Bay and Ace Austin for those Impact World Tag Team titles.
And
still your Impact
Motor
World Tag Team Champions, Motor City.
That surprised me, but I loved it.
They're getting their due right now, aren't they?
So they're trying to make the Impact Digital Media title irrelevant, and Moose versus Joe Hendry. So at one point in the match, Moose did a little shenanigans and pulled a victory, but then it's because he cheated, and none other than Santino Marella. Santino Marella. He came out, he arrived, he announced he's the new Director of Authority, and he restarted the match. Yeah, he's the DOA.
I love that he is DOA too.
And he restarted the match, and after which Hendry ends up beating Moose, retaining that Impact Digital Media title.
Gotta believe, baby. Gotta believe.
I didn't care for this at all.
I was most excited for Santino.
Honestly, yes, I was too. After they get in the ring, I wasn't too excited about the match.
Yeah. I like some Santino Marella.
I go either way on Santino Marella. Sometimes he makes me laugh so much. Other times it's all right, shoo.
Well, what makes me laugh even more is because he did the accent, right? And when he showed up. And what's funny is if you ever hear him talk outside of Santino character, he talks.
Oh, he's normal.
He talks completely normal, and it throws you for a loop because you heard him talk as Santino for so long.
Just ever since that whole real life situation that he got in with Jim Cornette, where Jim Cornette slapped the fuck out of him, because Santino was just corpsing during the segment or something like that, and I don't remember the whole entire story, but ever since then I'm like, oh, so Santino's kind of a dick. That's fair. But of course, Jim Cornette is also a dick. So.
Yes, that's very fair.
Much so.
Yeah.
He's going to be the greatest of all the times.
Of all the times.
See, that's funny.
So, Impact X Division title match. We had the champion Trey Miguel versus Black Taurus.
Yes.
Black Taurus.
We got this one wrong,
And
didn't we?
still.
Yeah, we did.
Trey Miguel. Next up, we had the career versus title match with Knockout World Champion Jack Grace defending her title against
Hardcore Country.
Mickey James.
Yes.
And Mickey James
Hardcore Country
is your new Impact
Yeah.
Knockouts champion.
Hell yeah.
The last rodeo goes on, baby.
Hardcore Country.
Mickey James.
So,
Yeah.
that's right, Mickey.
She's kind of saying the last ride is over. It's a title reign now. When she loses the title reign, she retires now.
Yeah.
So that's cool though. I like that. I was waiting on the heel turn. We would have been geniuses if she'd have done it.
I know, right? I was kind of sad, but not really because still fucking awesome.
Yeah, match was good. Match was good. I liked it.
I saw somewhere where Mickey James wants
Hardcore Country.
where she wants to wrestle on like WWE television, not just in the Rumble, but in an actual match as the Knockouts champion.
That'd be cool.
Mickey James.
Hardcore Country.
Trish Stratus. She wants Trish Stratus to put her in the Hall of Fame too if she goes in.
Oh yeah, well I mean that was the whole thing when Trish was there and she came in as the Trish obsession person, obsessed person. Yeah.
Wait a minute, let me get mine in. Her being Mickey James.
Hardcore Country.
Okay, all right.
It's weird how that just works like that. That's right. That's automatic.
Right. Feels good, don't it? It just feels good.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah.
Oh man, I will tell you, this past year, last Rumble, when she came out and that music hit, I mean, the crowd went nuts.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to have an aneurysm and then poop at the same time. A poopurism.
I was pretty excited myself, so.
A diarrhea-urism. I hate myself.
Full Metal Mayhem in the main event for the Impact World title. Josh Alexander, the champion, versus Bully Ray. And
No.
Just kidding. Josh Alexander retained the championship. We can all continue to watch Impact.
Yeah,
Thank you, Impact Bookers. Now, Bubba, I will love it if you just walk away now. I'm good.
Yeah, just go on.
But Josh over.
Yeah. Now go buy a used car lot or something and go
back to
work that.
Akeem and Razor?
Yes.
Poetry books.
God, this is my way for him to walk away, and I'm okay with it because
he won't though. He'll start cutting
he
like.
Came in
the thing
and
is,
did the job.
I thought he had already walked away. I was never expecting to see him again.
No,
except for like one-off Rumble appearances, which I'm cool with. But
or like if they do like a Legends Raw or something like that.
Yeah, so that's fine too. I like the Dudley Boys. But anyway, that is it for Hard to Kill.
Yeah. Decent pay-per-view. I was basically just watching the women's match. I was up for that one, but Josh Bully was good. I think he told the right story. It was good stuff too. So let's move on, man. Let's talk a little NXT here. They had New Year's Evil. They had a little bit of stuff happen, which was kind of made it a little more interesting. Donovan Dijak, who he's doing this like future cop justice, serving justice for people. Like I don't know what kind of gimmick, but anyway, he beat Tony D, which was a pretty good match. Now he's going to face Primo's boy Wes Lee here pretty soon for the North American title. How about Jinder showed up? He joined Indashire.
Sure.
Something happened with Veer. Veer wasn't able to show up, and then they did this angle with Jinder.
I'm talking about don't hinder Jinder.
Don't hinder Jinder. That fucker got a good pop too, man. Like everybody was like, "Oh shit, Jinder."
People sleep on Jinder, man. I like him.
I feel so sorry for Jinder because he was put in an unwinnable position. Like he was, because he's not the greatest in the world. He's not awful, but they were like, and I say they. Vince McMahon was like, here is this impossible situation. You are now the champion without earning it, and here is your character, which is absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Now go. And Jinder's just like,
Maharaja.
So because from everything that I read about Jinder, he's like a great guy in like real life, but he was just like. Okay, this is gonna go poorly, but all right.
I mean, we'd all take it to be champ, right? Like, I mean,
well, yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah. What was pretty good about this too was Pretty Deadly was doing this gauntlet where they were going to face like one of the three of the best tag teams ever. New Day was there, so these guys came out that were supposed to be the Rockers, and it was like Gilbert, but you know what I mean, but not really. They were just guys acting like the Rockers. So they beat them, and then New Day's like, nah, you know, y'all ain't gonna do that. And then so they sent out a couple other tag teams that they beat. But anyway, the last one ended up being Gallus, who returned, the NXT UK guys, and they spoiled the gauntlet attempt for Pretty Deadly, which they've wrestled each other a lot over there, so they're very familiar. I think they're probably going to try to maybe run some of those storylines over there. But okay, so I was totally wrong. Braun retained over Grayson Waller after. Did you guys see how this one finished with the rope break spot?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so Braun, they did a spot where Grayson was outside hurt. Okay, he was creeping back in, getting close to the refs. Getting close to the refs, like 7, 8, 9 count. Well, I noticed all through the night that they weren't really touching the second rope on that one side. And they weren't bumping or doing any Irish whips off of it. So anyway, so he goes to jump back in to grab the rope to pull himself in on the 9 count. And the second rope breaks. And then so Braun wins by count out. That's how he won the match. But it was a good match. I mean, of course, they went at it. But they're going to run it back in a cage match. Makes sense, right? Like, you know. So next time, but
definitely 10 out of 10. Grayson Waller jumps off the cage.
Right. Yeah. And then last thing of the night for NXT, which was the best show ever, but best show they've had in a long time. But they really loaded it up here with this kind of whatever pay-per-view. So they did this like women's battle royal #1 contender, right? And so the final two was Toxic Attraction, like both the girls. So they like turned on each other for a minute and then made up, turned on each other for a minute and made up, right? And then they did this spot where they supposedly both hit the ground at the same time, but the camera wasn't really showing it, so you couldn't really tell. And then they could go and edit it and make it look like, you know what I mean? So anyhow, but I just thought that was kind of a lame way to do it. So
did Vince McMahon run out and blow up both his quads?
No, but Roxanne Perez came out, and they're probably going to do like a triple threat match or something. But
you remember
the reason why I'm talking about it so much is because this is probably the best episode they've had in months.
That's what happened with when John Cena and Batista both landed at the same time during that Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
when Vince ran out, he slid in the ring and blew his quads.
Sure did. He was sitting there on the ropes, like looking up, barking orders.
Yeah, doing his promo on his ass.
And they're like, "Why don't you stand it up? Like, stand up, dude."
No.
All right, let's jump to old Vinnie Mac and WWE now that he's back. We ain't gonna talk about that yet. But for what was on TV, so it kind of answered our question. We were talking about Alexa being still involved with Bray. Now she's definitely involved because she's like intertwined with this Uncle Howdy somehow.
Howdy came out. Yep.
Yeah. But then this last SmackDown that was on last week, Bray come out and said that at Royal Rumble he's coming back to what he is now.
He brought back the rocking chair.
He
called himself the Eater of Worlds.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting here. So you think maybe they think if some of this stuff isn't working, so they're maybe going to go back to a little bit of what did maybe. I
think most of what Bray has done worked as long as it's not Husky Harris. But that's why I like Bray Wyatt so much is he can because when normally a wrestler gets a new gimmick, like their old gimmick is just completely forgotten, like it never existed.
Sure.
Whereas Bray Wyatt, I feel like, is one of those that can return to old gimmicks and have it feel fresh and new again, which is a tribute to what Bray Wyatt can do. So I'm okay with him going back to The Fiend or going back to, cult leader Bray Wyatt.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know about this whole Uncle Howdy stuff. And as long as it's Bo Dallas, that's cool. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with somebody who's that creative, you're going to have some stuff that hits and, some stuff that maybe it may not hit as well, But either way, we're going to love it because it's Bray Wyatt. So
yeah, exactly.
Right. I still want to see Bo in some way. Like I want to see him be. I don't know.
You saw him on Monday. He's Howdy.
That's what I'm saying. But if they can this whole Howdy thing,
yeah,
you know what I mean. But
they got to do something with it. Even if they do can the whole Uncle Howdy thing. I mean, Bo Dallas is back under contract, so they've got to do something with him. And he's awesome. So hopefully they let him do stuff.
I'd love to see him go back down to NXT.
I would too. Actually,
like
imagine the pop.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun.
That'd be pretty.
That's
awesome.
That's the Bo I like and remember really. But anyway, so the video packages of Cody are picking up. You guys noticing that? Like,
golly. So you know what's annoying about that is that they're doing it.
Don't do it.
Right.
Let us be surprised.
Let it breathe. Yeah, let it be a surprise. Like don't
maybe returning. Make sure he's in our head a little bit because
don't forget we do have Cody on our roster. You remember this happened.
It's like no one has forgot. We know.
Right.
We're all waiting for him to come back.
Right. Let us just all have an organic freaking reaction instead of being all right. This is when he's coming back. Yeah.
So my final note for WWE this week is at the end of I believe it was Raw and SmackDown. Or maybe it was SmackDown. Yeah. The Usos with Sammy left KO left it on a busted up announcer's table or whatever after like the match and Sammy, you can start to see the apprehension, like the doubt setting in with his facial expressions, obviously.
Yeah. Right? Well, the entire show, he was under the impression that no one else in the bloodline was there, and he was doing it on his own. And he did have the match in hand. And all of a sudden, Usos and fucking Solo, yeah. They all three came out and just jumped. Yeah, they all came out and jumped KO right in the middle of the match. And Sammy's like, "What the hell, guys?" Number one, he didn't think they were there. And number two, like he had it, like he was taking care of business.
He was dissension.
Yeah, good storyline though too. That like he was kicking ass until they showed up, kind of deal. And there they are. So, all right, you guys got anything else WWE this week?
No.
The Charlotte and Sonya brawl on SmackDown backstage seems to be they're trying to make Sonya seem credible, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
She is credible.
As a formal contender. I mean, is this pushed into a Rumble match? Is that what
probably?
I would assume, yeah.
Yeah.
Which Charlotte should squash her in all reality.
Yeah. It's hard for me to see many people on the level of Charlotte, so I'm just sorry.
No. Rhea Ripley, Bailey.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but Bianca Belair.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't like. I don't like Bianca Belair still.
You know what my dream match right now is? And
Charlotte against
Stone Cold versus Charlotte.
How about Charlotte versus Jade Cargill?
That would be a fantastic, like just muscly women.
Big, like size. And I'd like to see Britt Baker versus Charlotte.
Now I want to see Jade versus Camille.
I want to see Masha Slamovich versus Jade Cargill.
Sure.
Or Camille versus Charlotte.
Yeah, Camille Charlotte. There's another one. I'd love to see that one too.
I want to see
NWA Women's Title. Hell yeah.
Yeah, right. Woo!
It's a hard-on kind of match right there.
Yeah.
I want to see for his 43rd retirement match, Ric Flair versus Charlotte Flair.
She just slaps the
But
piss
for real
out of him.
this time. The pay-per-view's called But For Real this time.
Yeah, but
for real
this time we
and
mean it.
she does the Shawn Michaels spot. I'm sorry. I love you.
I'm sorry.
And she
I
kills
love
him.
you.
Yeah.
And then she puts him in the figure 8.
Yeah.
It slaps his face.
He has a heart attack and goes to sleep and never wakes up.
He dies in the ring.
Oh, it's terrible.
Voids his bowels.
It's terrible. But, at retirement match number 43, that's what it would be. All right, so let's jump to AEW, man. So, AJ, man, are you a Jungle Hook fan?
Nah, not really.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't dislike it, but at the same time, I didn't
Hook
care.
boy.
Like two of their top baby faces.
There we go.
Yeah, two of their top baby faces and put them together.
Not anymore. Yeah. Which leads me. Thank you for that transition. Right to. Can you guys do the Adam Cole baby? I'm bad at it.
Okay.
Adam Cole baby! Thank you.
Man.
I fucking popped huge with Adam Cole.
So did I.
You know it's all about the boo.
I caught me off guard too.
In my living room, my daughter is looking at the TV and looking at me and looking at the TV and looking at me. She's seeing me going like this, and doing this with Adam Cole.
Man, he looked good. He looked ready. He looked fresh.
Yeah. And he cut a fucking fire babyface promo. So immediately, sure. To me, he's top of the card. He's top babyface in the company. Yeah. Automatically. Because he's so awesome. And this is how you do a return, WWE. Take note. There weren't a bunch of fucking teaser videos 3 weeks beforehand or 2 weeks beforehand. He just showed up. Crowd went nuts. Everyone at home, if they're like us, went. Did you just take off your pants?
Man, that was episode 100, dude. But Primo just stood up, took his pants, just dropped trowel right here.
Just hanging. Primo's hanging brain.
This motherfucker's comfortable. He's like, oh hell, this is 100 episodes. I don't care if they see my dick or not. Damn, like you got an awesome background cover for sure, because when you stood up and dropped pants, like it blacked it out immediately. What's going on here?
You need to change your background to just a bunch of dicks, so your dick doesn't. You can't even tell that it's yours because it's camouflaged with the rest of the dicks.
Tiniest one on the screen.
All right, so not that big of fan of Jeff Jarrett being back, but man, do I love the guitar spots.
I
still
don't.
love them. I love seeing people get cranked with those damn things.
But the guitars are clearly made out of paper mache and
sure, I don't care. It's the explosion. It's I'd take one. I don't, you know what I mean?
It's because it's like getting seriously hit with a balloon or something.
Right.
What else happened?
What if it's Honky Tonk Man hitting Jake?
Where it doesn't break or it just has a dent in it.
Yeah.
That was a real fucking guitar.
Jake swears it's a real guitar,
Yeah.
It had, well, I mean, if you see it not break, you're like, okay, that was a real fucking guitar. Like Honky picks it up and starts playing it. Just kidding, he can't play the guitar.
So AEW was in LA, so that right there kind of told me that the Bucks and Omega were going to win. But this match though, fucking awesome, man.
Yeah,
great.
I didn't watch it.
So good.
I really didn't. I'm sure. I'm sure it was fun, but
it was good. It was good.
A lot of crazy shit.
I know you guys hate the entrance, but I like Carry On My Wayward Son. You know,
I do hate it.
I don't hate it. I think it's time to just go back to something else. So listen, you know what I mean?
I just like all of the pageants, all of their stuff when they come out, like everything, like all the schmoz fest they have when they come out. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
So, that was a good one to end the show with. For a half a second, I didn't think they were when Penta did that package power bomb onto the ladder and to one of the Jacksons. I thought that fucking Death Triangle was gonna pull it out, and I was like, oh shit. But then, of course, Omega did win. And a couple other things I had for Dynamite too. Number one, Hangman versus Moxley was a pretty hot opening.
It was.
If it would have been someone other than Hangman, I would have loved it. I don't like Hangman. I just don't. He bores me.
I don't like Moxley either, but I still respect the decent.
Yeah, I mean that was me. Like I looked past both of all of that. I just thought it was a great opening. And then that match with Bryan Danielson, and I'm not going to try to say the gentleman's name because I'll butcher it.
Takeshita.
That was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
That dude is good. I see now why they signed him, man. He's good.
Konosuke Takashita.
He's like 25. You don't say it Takashita though. It's like Takshita, something like that. I don't know. Very hard to pronounce.
I hope that he is in AEW forever and ever because he was phenomenal. And this for once, I didn't want to see MJF. I was like, no, go away. I just want to see these two. Like,
they just beat the shit out of each other,
and it was amazing.
It was great. And then the last thing I had for Dynamite was when the JAS was in the ring and Accident Andretti and Ricky Starks were on the stage talking to him, and they finally got to where Jake Hager was going to say something, and you quickly realize why Jake doesn't say a fucking word.
Oh my god!
He says, Ricky, I'm going to slap your face right off of your face.
I loved it.
Right, he should just stand there in the purple hat and leave it alone.
Stupid fucking hat. I'm gonna slap your face all over your face.
Oh, that's great, man.
You could just tell everybody when they're in the ring was just like, "Fuck, who gave him a microphone?"
Remember when Owen Hart and Bret Hart were feuding, and Owen Hart was like, "Bret, I'm gonna kick your leg out of your leg." I was trying to hope that it was like a little homage to that, but no, he's just that stupid and bad on the mic.
Yep.
He's a great fighter, great wrestler. Just don't speak.
Yeah, like real life badass, but never talk. Also lose the hat because you look stupid.
Right. All right, boys. Y'all got anything else here? We'll move on.
That's it.
No.
Let's do it, Primo. Let's hit that game show music. It's time to have a little fun here.
Oh, damn, we got to do this quick.
AJ's favorite game, Last Man Standing, but today he's on the other side. AJ is the host. Take it away, AJ.
So this week the outcome isn't a foregone conclusion, even though I do have one loss at Last Man Standing, I will say. But yep, I'm taking over, putting these two knuckleheads. That's a dumb thing to say. Against each other. So when I learned that I was going to be hosting Last Man Standing, it was about like 3 weeks ago, something like that. And we had just done fucking the Christmas Nitro or whatever. And it reminded me how much I despise the NWO and all of its music. So what we are going to do today is all NWO members. This is... This is not including, however, not including NJW or NJPW. There we go. Don't know why I couldn't say that. Nor does it include when they were in WWE. So Booker T, Shawn Michaels out.
Okay.
So
is this particular to black and white?
Nope. Wolfpack is included. There are 45.
Oh my God.
Fucking 5 members.
Oh God. There's no way we're getting all of them, but all right.
Nope. So who wants to start? Old hanging dong out there. You can start.
All right. Give me Hulk Hogan.
Done.
Scott Hall.
Uh-huh.
How dare you take my guy?
Kevin
Nash.
Mm-hmm.
Macho Man.
Mm-hmm.
Macho Man. NWO brother, Mr. Perfect. Kurt Hennig.
Mm-hmm.
Lex.
Mm-hmm.
X-Pac.
Yes.
Six-Pac.
Six. But yes, X-Pac. X-Pac counts.
Yeah.
Red and Black Sting.
There you go.
Uh-huh. About old meat sauce himself, Virgil.
What was his name though? I mean, it counts. It's Vincent, but yeah, that counts.
Yeah. There you go. Vincent.
Meat sauce.
Yeah.
The homie Conan.
Uh-huh.
Ken Norton.
Wow, you went deep for that one. Yes, Ken Norton was in the NWO.
Buff Bagwell.
Hey, I was just about to say that one.
I'm keeping one up my sleeve.
God, I know there is a ton of them out there.
Yeah, you've got like 35 left.
Yeah.
This is all the ones that showed up on TV.
Had to come up with them on the spot. Dennis Rodman.
Damn it! That was my
good one. Yes, Dennis Rodman. We will include celebrities as well. And by the way, all those people you just mentioned, those were all a part of one episode of Nitro, and their music played individually each time.
Yeah.
That's not true, but it probably is.
Dead air.
Trying to think of who we didn't say. I mean, we didn't say a lot of people clearly, but
lots and lots.
DiBiase.
There you go. The bankroll of NWO.
Yeah. Paul White, a.k.a. before he was the Big Show.
The Giant?
You mean the Giant?
The Giant.
Yes.
Let's go with Eric Bischoff.
Ah, very good.
How about Chavo Guerrero?
Chavo Guerrero. Hit the thing. Chavo Guerrero was never in NWO. Primo, give us one more to really
put me away.
Put him out of his misery.
You know, I didn't have one more. I was glad that he got that wrong because I was going to lose. But for shits and gigs. Oh, he said Mr. Perfect. Stevie Ray.
Stevie Ray was a member of the NWO.
Nice. Who do we miss?
Oh my God, so many.
Yes.
So we have referee Mark Johnson. We have Barry Windham. We have Rick Rude, Miss Elizabeth, Dusty Rhodes, Scott Steiner, who I'm surprised you guys missed. Brian Adams. Bret Hart, also surprised you missed him. The Disciple, aka Big Brother Booty, and whatever the fuck else name he is.
Yeah.
Beefcake. Referee Nick Patrick. Dusty Rhodes already said. Louis Spicoli. Tenzan, the Great Muda. Masahiro Chono. Weird. Didn't know he was in it. Big Bubba Rogers. Michael Wall Street, aka IRS. The Nasty Boys, both of them.
Gosh.
Who else? Where's the rest of them?
It's hard.
I'm glad you didn't think of none of them.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Got it. And then, I think Jeff Jarrett, you can count, I suppose. Yeah. Ron and Don Harris, Medaja, Tylene Buck, April Hunter. Okay, I think that's all of them.
That'll work. Yep.
Jesus Christ. There were so many goddamn ones.
Yep, it was.
You guys made it pretty far. You got like 30 of them.
Not too bad. I
knew that Stevie Ray was in that. Yeah, I didn't know you were gonna bring out Dennis Rodman. I was holding that one in the back of my cab.
There was. Oh shit! I forgot. No, there was one more celebrity.
Carmelo.
No, he wasn't.
He
in
was
WO.
DDP's partner.
DDP, yeah.
Well, I'm celebrity in quotation marks. That would be Kyle Petty.
I know it was a race car driver. Yeah,
the race car driver. Kyle Petty was a member of the NWO, and that is.
And he also drove the car.
Stubble. He did. He drove the NWO car. Yep.
So
all right, good stuff there, Primo. We'll bring back Last Man Standing next month when AJ can play, but you will reign as champ over me for now.
Good job, boys.
Let's update the King of the Mountain here, Primo. Hit the Triple H Lemmy music. Yeah.
Hey, yo! Can somebody call Mom? That's not it.
We get a copyright strike every time we play that.
Time to play the game!
Like, literally, they don't get us for any other song, but
Just
fuck is on a roll.
the fucking dactyls.
Yeah, they're like
That was amazing.
horse to that song.
They like that one.
Somebody call my mama.
All right, somebody call our mama because AJ is the current king of the mountain, sitting up top with 6. Current standings coming into last week, AJ was 0, Primo with 1, and myself with 0 was the current streaks. We were picking from a UFC card, Charles Johnson, a.k.a. Ahmed Johnson, versus Jimmy Frick, a.k.a. Jimmy Hart. Primo and I went with Charles Johnson. AJ went with Jimmy Frick. Your results: by TKO in the first round, Charles Johnson defeats Jimmy Frick.
In the first round? Oh,
First
come
round.
on.
Yeah,
TKO.
he flicks him right out of that featherweight division.
So AJ will
That's
stay
what
at
he did.
0. Primo will move up to 2, and myself will move up to 1.
That hurt my finger when I did that.
All right, this week's pick, boys, we're going with Big Ten men's hoops basketball.
Okay.
Here we go. We got Penn State Nittany Lions versus the Wisconsin Badgers.
Wisconsin. You don't even have to say anything. I'm going Wisconsin. Well, okay. What are the connections?
Let me get my gimmicks in here.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so Penn State, who the state of Pennsylvania is where Kurt Angle's from, our beloved Kurt. So went with
Love
that one with Penn State. And then Wisconsin is another guy I got to meet not too long ago, a guy by the name of Dylan Postal, a.k.a. Hornswoggle. Is from Wisconsin.
Hornswoggle.
So he is, but Penn State's record 12-5 versus Wisconsin 11-5. Wisconsin being the home team. Primo, you're still the leader streak at 2. Who you going with first?
Well, my first question was going to be who is the home team.
Okay.
And being Wisconsin, they're going to move up to that 12-5 spot. So yeah, I go with Wisconsin.
All right.
I go
AJ,
with the Dylan Postles.
There you go. AJ obviously sticking with Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's going to mop the floor with Penn State.
All right. I don't know if we've done this too often, but I'm going threefold with you too. I'm going with the Wisconsin Hornswoggles.
I don't think we've ever, all three of us, Wisconsin Hornswoggles.
Wisconsin Hornswoggles.
Wisconsin's son of Vince McMahon.
That's it. The ball game, I believe, is next Thursday, but we'll check in next week and see where we're at with the streak. So, all right, boys, let's move on. Primo, you got a little robot soundbite for AJ's segment here today?
I do.
Let's hear it. Let's go.
Here we go.
AJ's super spectacular stupendous segment for a 100 special of the week.
Broke out my thesaurus for that one.
No, that was pretty good. That was pretty. Yeah, there's like 5 words that just mean pretty good.
Of the week.
So normally I'm snarky during these because I like snark and I find a lot of crap to make fun of. But this week is going to be a good one.
Okay.
There's a little band called the 86 that it's a band that's near and dear to the show. I won't say why. If he wants to speak up, he can. I don't care. But this band, the 86, recently released an album. It's available on SoundCloud. I'm just going to play a little bit for you. Maybe. There it is. So there's no lyrics, obviously. It's an instrumental music. It's instrumental music, and it's described as what, like video game / lobby music /
like waiting lobby, electronica, video game.
It's so good. Like, and I'm like a music snob. Like, so I always make fun of these guys because they're like,
this is good weed smoking music too. You can smoke weed to this.
It's like, oh, Rev Theory, Sister, Shine Down, blah blah blah. See, that shit is crap to me. I like the more, atmospheric kind of Daniel Makabe kind of vibe. So this is it's very atmospheric. It's very, you can put it on and just in the background, just listen to it. The guitar is amazing. Whoever this gentleman is.
So I will say who it is.
Yes,
it's
please.
My brother. Yeah, so the 86 is my brother. Is what my daughter would call Uncle KO. Because everybody back home thinks he looks like Kevin Owens. But yes, it is my brother. He produces and does all the instruments on this. So yeah, it's good stuff.
It's fantastic. I've been listening to it. Primo, you sent me the link, like a week ago?
Yeah.
Something like that? And this has been pretty much on repeat all week long. Again, it's called The 86. By the way, this song is called When Skies Fell and Cities Burned. The album's called Inside the Waiting Lobby. Inside the Waiting Lobby. You can check it out on SoundCloud. I highly recommend you do, especially if you like bands like Godspeed You Black Emperor, which is also very instrumental, very ethereal, I guess. And the guitar is fantastic. So go check it out. It's amazing. I'm a big fan, and I'm going to keep listening to it for the next week. Probably.
Yeah. Like I tell people, my older brother is the one who got all of the musical talent, instruments, singing. He can do it all. So, yeah, it's great stuff. Everybody should go check it out.
Oh, yeah. Just keep that shit on, AJ. Plug the merch, man, while we got the music on.
Is it my turn to plug merch? Is it me? Okay, so we have merch. See, I don't even have a soundbite to fuck up, and I still fuck it up. So we have merch. You can buy said merch, which includes t-shirts, sweatshirts, baby clothes, mugs, other things, whatever you want, really. Well, not whatever you want. Within a certain limit. You can buy all this stuff at tpublic.com/stores/sitdownmarks. That site, once again, is tpublic.com/stores/sitdownmarks.
Mercs. Well, we know who we're getting our sound bites from now on from. For the pod.
No shit.
Yeah, I don't stream as much anymore, but he's also the one who does my graphic design and the songs for my Twitch streaming too. So
he's fucking awesome. Like, I'm sorry. Like, the first time I heard this, I was super jealous because, again, I'm a big music nerd. I have instruments. I can play instruments, but I was telling the guys this beforehand, I have no talent for them. Like, I can play them, but it doesn't matter because I still suck. Whereas someone like Uncle KO can fucking invent things and create things and hear sounds that I can't, and it drives me nuts. I wish I could do that. He can. He's amazing.
All right, everybody go check it out. All right, Primo, hit that old soundbite, man. It's time to talk about our previous guests on the pod here.
This is Levi Cooper.
Hey, this is Buck Nasty, Bucky Collins.
This is Big B.
What's up, bozos? This is Trevor Outlaw, and you're listening.
And you're listening to the Sit Down Marks.
Sit Down Marks.
And you're listening to the Sit Down Marks podcast with DB, Primo, and AJ.
All right, so for the 100th episode, we thought it'd be kind of cool to go back and talk about our previous guests who had been on the pod. You know, where we were in our podcasting journey, so to speak, when we were interviewing each one of these wrestlers. So we just kind of want to go back and talk about that, you know, just kind of, you know, take a little stroll down memory lane to kind of remember, you know, where we were. You know, we're not saying like we made it by no means. It's just like saying, you know, how thankful we were, and to kind of remember, you know, all these people that we have talked to that are still on the independent scene. Some have gone on to do other things. So it's just going to be kind of fun to talk about those. Then we also got a list of people that we've had on the podcast that aren't necessarily wrestlers, but have a lot to do with in the wrestling world. And some of them I definitely got to send out some thank yous to, but we'll talk about that later. So, all right, boys, if you guys are ready, man, let's get started here. Let's talk about the first time we had a guest on the pod was we did 15 episodes, and then we talked to a guy on episode number 16, guy by the name of Big Beef Gnarls Garvin, who we still talk about to this day. And you know, just you know, he's still an independent wrestler out there trying to make it now. Why? Okay, this was our first step into interviewing an actual wrestler, you know, kind of getting our feet wet and jumping off that. Side note, me and Primo had a small little podcast that we did prior to this. So we had some interview experience, but not necessarily with wrestlers. So, you know, but that definitely transitioned, helped us out, you know, to get to this point. So, you know, anybody who knows me knows I've been to a lot of independent wrestling shows. One of the guys that I kind of got to talk to a lot at the shows that I've seen a lot was Big Beef. And I kind of just got to talking to him, that kind of stuff. And, you know, and he was, looking for, some extra side money. And, I was looking to have a wrestler on the podcast. So it turns out Big Beef ended up being kind of the perfect first guest for us because I think he was a little nervous. We was nervous too, making sure that we had enough things to talk about. We didn't, we always ventured into this not wanting to insult these wrestlers at all, in any way possible. So we always wanted to give them the proper respect, and on these two, not bragging at all, but every one of these wrestlers that have been on our podcast, we have took care of financially for taking their time to be on the podcast and just to kind of show our appreciation for being on the pod too. So, because a lot of these, interviews, we were still getting our feet wet, learning how to do it. So Big Beef was the perfect first guest because I kind of know him a little bit, on the independent scene. He was hungry, kind of wanted to do a podcast. He was a little nervous. We were a little nervous. AJ, do you remember the Big Beef interview, the very first one?
I actually just listened to that yesterday again, and we had no idea what the fuck we were doing. It was amazing. We had no clue, because that was the first one we'd ever done. And now, obviously, we're seasoned professionals and don't suck at all. That's a lie. We still suck. But he was so gracious and so awesome. Yeah. And he was really funny, really nice. And so I think the fact that Big Beef was our first guest ever really kind of made it easier for us going forward because he's he kind of relaxed us as much as, we relaxed him. So it was a very, very good first choice.
Yeah. Big Beef was good. We ended up checking back in with him later too, but he was kind of a perfect good first guest because it was somebody that I already kind of knew, was a little comfortable with. So it wasn't like, a guy that I didn't know right off the bat. So, all right. So episode number 19 came up after that, Primo. And we got this guy with the help of Thomas Bryce. This was our first UK wrestler, our second ever wrestler interview, but he was from the UK. So this was helping us with SportsWire Online Radio. Now, we met a guy named R.P. Davies, former boxer turned wrestler, on episode number 92. We talked to him again, episode number 32. Give me your memories on that.
Man, so R.P. Davies, when we first talked to him, he was fresh into his independent wrestling career. He is a former professional boxer, and he was jumping into the wrestling game post-COVID. So he had been training during COVID times, and some of his training had to be postponed due to COVID. And then once things started to open back up, he was actually able to start going out and getting bookings once again. And he's the nicest guy. He was super positive about it. Then by the time we talked to him the next time around, we're all mates with him now. He's a good guy, good friend of the show now. And we even coined RPD 22, which was going to be the year of RP Davies. And turns out he became the champ.
Yeah.
So really good guy.
Cool.
And I'm very, very thankful with it. He came on the show when he did and even returned. I'm sure he'll be on the show again in the future. He's a really good dude. And I'm happy for his success thus far.
Yeah. He's one of those guys too, if he steps on American soil and we ever see him at a show, I'll thank him for I don't think he realized how green we were at the time. I mean, he I don't know if he paid attention, but it said podcast number 19, so obviously we're still pretty young in our adventure. But yeah, very cool. Thank you to RP Davies. I still talk to him frequently on Twitter, which is cool. Always nice to check back in with him. So let's move on next, man. Another guy that I had seen on the independent wrestling. He was the third guest on the pod I'd seen on independent wrestling scene. Wrestling in Tennessee, this guy was getting over. I introduced him to AJ. I was like, hey, man, you got to check out this guy named Daniel Makabe. He's one of the best technical wrestlers I've seen, especially on the indies. He's got a mind for this business, and he twists guys up in a pretzel, and he looks like he should be in a rock band or something. You know what I mean? And he just, and just ended up being a really cool interview. I was excited. Only thing about this was the one guy we did not get a soundbite from. You always hear these, hey, this is such and such, you're listening to Primo, AJ, DB. Well, we did not get one from him, but I remember talking to Daniel McCabe thinking, man, this is really cool. This podcast has got me to be able to talk to Daniel, remind him of a moment that we kind of had together, and this was cool. Primo was visiting not long, I believe, before we interviewed him or something like that. It was after. Was it after? Yeah,
because we watched the next tournament, the next year.
Right,
the next SCI.
Yeah, Scenic City Invitational. He was trying to be the first back-to-back winner, which he was not successful. But AJ, was. Man, cool to talk to Daniel McCabe,
though. So, like you said, you introduced me to Daniel McCabe, and he's still like one of my favorite wrestlers. Not just one of my favorite indie wrestlers, but one of my favorite wrestlers because he's so awesome. And he uses cool entrance music. I mentioned Godspeed You Black Emperors earlier. That's his entrance music. He's got a unique look when he goes to the ring. And there's this great documentary about him. He's awesome. He wears like soccer jerseys and the scarf, and like he's very eerie when he moves and how he moves. He's so good. He's so much fun to watch. And getting to
the definition of methodical.
Yes. Yeah. And the fact that we actually got to talk to him and then we have seen him. We saw him once down at St. Louis Anarchy live, and it was so cool. So the fact that we actually got to bring him on and he had just a chat with us, and he's just like this cool music nerd that like he and I marked out over records and stuff. So it was so awesome having him on here. I would love to have him back sometime.
Yeah, I would too. All right, next up was another guy that we got from Thomas Bryce. His name was Ishmael Vaughn. Now, I did this interview by myself on my own on episode number 24. This guy was a Nightmare Factory graduate. He was an up-and-coming independent wrestler, wanted to get his name out there, was happy to talk to us. I had a good time talking to him. He's since then to tag team with Kid Bandit. He's been all over the California scene. I've seen him on AEW Dark. So he's doing very well for himself, and glad to see him, another guy I'd like to maybe talk to later on down the road. So next guest after Ishmael was a guy that I think for the first time I had my jaw dropping because I told the boys, I said, AJ Primo, man, we had 4 interviews under our belt at the time. I said, all right, let's take another step here. Let's start putting feelers out. Let's talk to people. Let's send out emails, see who we can reel in. Well, 2 episodes later, AJ comes up and says, I got a guy named Bucky Collins. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. I'm like, man, that is awesome because since I moved to the Midwest, Bucky Collins was on just about every card I'd been to. And this dude was a great heel. He's a great wrestler. He's just all around super awesome guy now that we know him. And he's great to have on your card because he can do so many things. Now, Bucky came on episode 26 and then again on episode 54 when we were talking to him about Zawa and some other things. But Bucky, one of the more charismatic, funnier guys we've had on the pod, right?
Yes. I want to go out and have a beer with him. He's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Also, he steals every single card he's on.
He does.
Every single card that he's on, Bucky Collins steals it. So if you have him on your show, even if you're like the rest of the card sucks, which it never will, if Bucky Collins is on it, there's going to be at least one awesome match.
Yeah, and Bucky's great too. That's why we constantly book him at Iron Spirit Pro because he's awesome. He's great to have on the card. And another guy that really kind of helped launch because Bucky would help me later talk to. He would bridge the gap between me and Zeke, which I would talk to Zeke with Zawa, who bridged the gap between me and Hartenbauer. Then I got to talking Hartenbauer, and then we're off to the races, right? But before we got there, right after Bucky, I took a stab in the dark at a guy that had been recently released from the WWE. I knew he was going to be a great interview. this was our chance to step our game up, move up to the next level. We had interviewed independent wrestlers. And so I sent an email out to this guy who was in a very popular tag team in the WWE and not expecting a response at all, just a total shot in the dark. And, and he shot me back and was more than happy to come on the podcast and talk. It's cool to kind of see that he's back a little bit in independent wrestling. But the guy I'm talking about is a guy named Levi Cooper. You know him as Tucker Knight from Heavy Machinery. He was a tag team partner with Otis. Yeah, and he's from Oregon. And, this was our first big, high-profile interview, boys. Like, I remember I had nerves for this one. I had nerves.
Yeah, me too. Because, like you said, this is our first. Like, obviously, it's all professional wrestling, but this was our first WWE guy. Like, we hadn't had anyone from WWE on yet,
right?
And so we were like, before we did the interview, I remember we were all sitting there like, "Are you guys shitting your pants?" Because I'm shitting my pants.
Yeah.
We had to talk like, we're like, all right, we're all marking out, obviously, so hopefully we don't say anything stupid.
Right.
And of course we did, because that's what we do. Say stupid things.
And then I was a little at ease because we set up to do the podcast, and then he's basically doing it in his game room. There's like a Miss Pac-Man in the background and pinball machines and stuff, and so it kind of softened the ice a little bit. Not necessarily broke it, but and we were off to the races. But this was a great interview. We were fresh off of him being released, and so I have a little soundbite here for you. I asked Levi one of the questions from this interview. Go check it out. It's episode number 27 of the Sit Down Marks podcast. So I asked Levi, Levi, how come, they had the big breakup between him and Otis, obviously with the Mandy storyline and all that stuff. Heavy Machinery broke up, but they never quite got to have that big blow-off match between Otis and Tucker, Levi, so to speak. So here's what Levi said when I asked him that question.
So just talk about that real quick, man. How come we didn't get to see a blow-off between you guys?
Well, shit. I mean, I wish I knew. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't ever really get a proper answer. I think the way things happen there in general is very week to week, and there's not a lot of like big picture, viewing.
Sure.
So from the best I could, surprise.
Interesting.
What a shocking revelation.
Yes. We just watched the product.
Best I could kind of gather, they had me planned to do Raw Underground, and that was like what they wanted me to do when I moved to Raw. But they hadn't blown off the other story with the, we still had to do the court scene and finish there and stuff. And so then they drug that out. And by the time we got around to doing that, Raw Underground had been scrapped. So then they didn't really have anything for me. And, I wasn't really told any reason why that Monday, I had a match on, main event the Monday after I turned with Humberto Carrillo, like a, 7-minute. And I didn't even know that I was going to turn right until I'll tell that story in a minute, but basically I wasn't booked until I got a text at 1:00 that day on Sunday that I needed to come to the arena. Right. So it wasn't like that was when I found out I needed to come. I didn't find out about the turn until probably, 4:00.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Like that late. Yeah. I remember after this interview, I was flabbergasted by what had just happened. Crazy that I just talked to Tucker Knight on my computer. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, like it was all kind of things. Like,
he was very giving.
Yeah. He was totally cool. He was like, "Yeah, let's talk about whatever, man. Let's do it." And so, but yeah. Also, thank you to him because we learned a lot from Levi in that episode. And I think it really set the tone for us going forward. But speaking of setting the tone, probably one of our most favorite interviews and probably one of our most popular interviews, one of our most popular episodes. If you know who Trevor Outlaw is, this guy is money on the mic. AJ and him were gold. AJ, Trevor Outlaw was on episode number 29, man. You got a little, you want to talk about this one, right?
Must I?
You must.
Must I talk about Trevor?
Oh, we're going to have the rematch eventually.
So
he's coming back.
So Trevor Outlaw, who I like to call Tyler because it pissed him off. He and I got into it a little bit. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna, behind the scenes here. He was so awesome to have on because, and again, like plus this is our first one that we did where it was in character, and he did not break character.
Kudos to him.
It was hilarious. There were many times because Primo and I were trying to also not break because we're like, okay, we'll do it this way.
Yeah.
The shit that came out of his mouth was so fucking funny that there were multiple times that I had to hide away from the mic so my big stupid gourmy face wasn't laughing hysterically. He was so awesome, and I'm glad that he's back now, and I really want to have him on again because fuck you bastard. I want to round two because
one of the most fun interviews that we had. It was so good.
Yeah. I personally think I got the better of the exchange, so he probably wants a rematch because I'm one up on him, obviously.
You bozo.
You bozo.
Even worse if you tamper with the beard, right?
You're learning. Congratulations.
Absolutely. What's your favorite football team?
I don't watch football. Football's fake. It's fixed.
Okay.
I should say the Chicago Bears, but I mean they've never done anything.
You shouldn't say the Chicago Bears at all. If there was a biography written about you, what would the title be?
If you're reading this, you're a bozo. But thanks for the money.
That's the best answer we've had to that question.
I refuse to acknowledge that that's the best answer, but I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge it anyways. That is the best answer that we've got.
So then you're not refusing to acknowledge it then?
No.
That's the dumbest thing that I've ever heard. Now, I don't know if Primo could get much dumber. I don't know if you can get much dumber, but I am dumber for having to sit and listen through that. I award you no points, and may God
have mercy on my soul. Yeah, I've seen that movie too.
I figured you're not very literate, so I figured if I made like a simple movie reference for you, something of your brain capacity, it might translate to you, which it did. So I was right.
You were. That's very well done, and I'm sorry that we've throughout this conversation have maybe dropped your IQ a couple of points.
Yeah, I think that was just so fun. He shit on us, we shit on him a little bit. It was great, especially AJ and him. Yeah,
this back and forth for 40 minutes straight. That was amazing. I want to have him on again. He was fantastic.
All right, so next up, episode number 37 was RP Davies' tag team partner in a tag team called Born Ready was the Cumbrian Outlaw Rick Marcus. Now, truth be told, inside baseball here, me and Primo talked to him like really early on, like a Sunday morning, like a 6-7 a.m. talk or something.
Oh, yeah.
So
it was like a wake up and interview type thing.
Yeah, because of the time difference and everything over there. So, an absolute fantastic interview. This guy is tough as nails. He's doing a lot by himself on the independent scene, and I think he still tag team together here quite often. So, and then coming up after that, now this is where the tide really kind of started to change here with our podcast. Is I told you we had met Bucky Collins, who put me in contact with Zeke Zishi, who was the owner of Zala Live Wrestling. And at the time, we did a sponsorship package with Zala Live, and their champion was a guy named Hartenbauer. So he said in return, we could have some of the wrestlers on the podcast as part of our deal. And, of course, the first guy I wanted was Hartenbauer. Because when I first moved to Illinois, as you've heard me say, Hartenbauer was wrestling for Dreamwave Wrestling. And so it was kind of cool, first full circle to come back and talk to him. So we talked to him then. Hartenbauer came back on episode number 45. We did it over again, and he has turned out to be one of the biggest friends of this podcast.
Hell yeah.
This guy has no idea. I'll talk about it more here as we get moving on down the line, but he has no idea how much he's helped us out behind the scenes. He's helped me out personally behind the scenes with kind of my ring announcing, my involvement with Dreamwave Wrestling, our involvement with Dreamwave Wrestling. It's just it's been super cool to have Hartenbauer on. And then but right after Hartenbauer's first interview, we had a girl who is now probably one of the hottest, biggest free agents in independent women's wrestling, just waiting to be signed on. She's wrestled all over the world. She's going to be on our TVs. She's on AEW Dark not long ago. So excited for this one. But a girl named Billy Starks, one of the biggest prospects in women's wrestling. We had her on episode number 43. She was nice enough to come on. We just reached out to her. She got back to us. And we ended up talking to her later at another show. But I asked her at such a young age. She was 17, 18 when we talked to her, I believe, something like that. But at that age, what at that time was her favorite part about being a wrestler? This is what she said.
What makes you want to wrestle that many times?
Definitely just like being in the ring and seeing people's reactions. Like, I just love physical activity. I love running the ropes, doing this, and I love having like the creativity aspect of wrestling where I can put anything together, and I have like some new crazy ideas that I need someone to come over and come to the BSB Performance Center so I can try out some of my ideas.
Yeah.
AJ
will take bumps for you. AJ will take bumps for you.
I'm small. I can take a bump. Can you give some hints about what those new ideas are, or would you rather keep those a little to yourself right now?
So some of it's just like some transitions to just get out of some moves that I regularly hit. So I want to do like a different transition into my head scissors tombstone that I usually do. So I had an idea for that. And then I wanted to do more stuff with like when people try to avoid the swanton instead of just eating crap all the time, maybe find a way to work around that.
Right. Yeah.
I get yelled at because I miss it so much. They're like, come on, you're back.
Good stuff, man. It seems like we talked to her forever ago. So, AJ, so you're a small guy. You'll take a bump, right?
Yeah, because that's important.
I'm glad that she never took me up on that, because she would have just made me be in pain for way longer than I would care to admit. Yeah. So luckily she was nice enough to be like, no, idiot, you can't take a bump, moron, just because you're small.
Because that's a thing.
So dumb.
All right, so right after her, we had our first referee on the pod. Episode number 49 was Dan Perch. This is the one I want to do over at some point because his Wi-Fi wasn't good. We couldn't hear each other well. It was just not. Didn't go very well.
It was a great interview.
It was a great fantastic.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the stuff
the
that
audio,
he was saying.
some issues and stuff was, but but he's one of the best referees on the independent scene. Surprised he's not picked up by a bigger company, but he's doing just fine without it. But all right, so episode number 51 was Mr. Havens, a guy, wrestler from Zawa Live. We're going to be playing his audio clip here later. One of the most charismatic, just hilarious guys. Love to talk wrestling with this guy. He is the current, now Zawa Live heavyweight champion. He just won the belt from Hartenbauer not long ago. So he was excited to have on at number 51. And then at number 55, we got one of the hardest hitting guys in the Midwest, Gary J, the staple of St. Louis Anarchy.
Fucking J.
Gary J, the king of Catterday.
King of Catterday.
Yeah. I was excited to talk to him. I didn't even know that he was really a podcast guy, but I was glad he was. I was happy to talk to him, and then obviously we got to talk to him, see him later on at the shows. And then right after that, this was our first promoter / wrestler Zeke Sishi, who's we should thank too because he's got a lot to do. He works for Dreamwave and owns Zawa. He's got us in contact with a lot of people in wrestling. We did a lot of business with Zeke. So it was kind of fun to have him on. I've seen one of his stand-up comedy shows. So he was fun to have on. Then the very next episode we had Sabotage Sean Logan. Probably one of the, I would say him and Connor Hopkins, one of the two biggest prospects that we're probably guaranteed to see on TV at some point one of these days. So, and then Connor was on at number 60. Everybody's going to know Connor's name at some point.
Yeah.
That kid has just got it, man.
Yep.
That talking to him is the reason I've never even seen him wrestle in person. I watched videos of him and heard all about him through you guys. Just that interview alone was enough to make me buy that Coyote shirt.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's good. So, it's excited to have him on. He's going to be a star, no doubt about it one day. So, but next, let's talk about one of the big staples on the independent scene for a while in the Midwest. And this guy's coming back on because he is in search of the Dreamwave Wrestling Championship here shortly. We had Christian Rose on at episode number 68. Primo, man, you want to talk about Christian coming on the pod?
Yeah. So we had him on. Of course, we talked about everything he was getting into. But what I really enjoyed talking about was specifically, he's one of the more mature indie wrestlers in the Midwest right now, or and was at the time when we interviewed him. But he is also one of the coaches for the Zawa Academy. And he talks here about how being a coach and how his first class that he coached are already coming up and helping out coach themselves. And he talks about his little pet peeves with a headlock. So here it is, Christian Rose.
So, I mean, we've got a good rotating gaggle of guys that are experienced. And like I said, those first students are 4 or 5 years in at this point. So, they're teaching the same stuff that I taught them. So it's kind of that grapevine effect, I guess. But yeah, I pop in as much as I can, and I always work on the details, the basics, the fundamentals. I'm big on the subjective nature of wrestling because I always try to teach my students, hey, this is the way that I was taught, or that I learned it from here or from there or from this guy or that guy. Not going to say this is right or wrong. There's countless ways to do this, but this is the way I'm going to show you how to do it. There's only a few things like that I'm a stickler on. Like there's one or two different versions of headlocks, and I'm like, if there's one of them that I just can't stand. It's hard to describe on an audio medium, but
gotcha.
You guys lock your fucking fingers together on a headlock, or I will come through that curtain and start fucking kicking at you.
It's not a lock. It's not a lock then if they're not locked, right?
Well, right. That's my take. There's this one that's real popular, and it just looks like you've got I think it's called an S grip. It probably is actually more realistic, but the person's basically holding their right fist straight up in the air, and their left arm goes around the head, and then their left hand is in the crook of their right elbow. It looks cool. I hate it. I just hate it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm sure it works great for people more successful than me. I just can't stand it.
Yeah. So he talked about his pet peeve there with the headlock, but obviously he's not just a coach; he's a wrestler himself. But it's cool because some of the people that he's coached are up and coming, and some of the independent stars today.
Yeah, if I'm starting to train or I want to pick a brain of an independent wrestler in the Midwest, it doesn't get much better than Christian Rose. His vast knowledge is just unbelievable. So, all right. So next up, episode number 69 was a guy that we got in an episode through CCW. I farted just as I said 69. A guy named Chris Slammer that was on the podcast. Remember, he had all those fucking
dude, a whole room.
He was a
whole room
memorabilia guy. Yeah,
brother.
Ended up going down to a couple CCW shows in Missouri, so he was cool to have on. Episode number 69. Then we had a guy from Iron Spirit Pro, the most over baby face. Y'all know him as Corn Boy. He was on episode number 72. He gave us a legendary soundbite. It was great. I love talking to Kevin. Super cool dude.
He's
Episode
great.
number 74. This guy was kind of our first Impact Wrestling guy. He was on the learning tree with Brian Myers, a guy by the name of Sam Beal, because he's got the curls for all the girls.
All the girls.
I had fun talking to him, man. He was like talking to like one of my old college buddies or something.
He's another great conversation.
Yeah, he's a good dude, super good dude, and I hope to see him do good here in coming up and get back on it, because I know he wants it, and he's got a baby on the way. He's got all that life shit happening. So, all right, next up, episode number 81. She is the last female that we've had on the podcast. A lady by the name of Miss Kate, who recently just got signed by NWA.
Sick.
She is super fun, super sassy. She got a little attitude to her. We love that about her. We had fun with her, and it was a good time. But during this interview, I asked her, I said, you've been up and down the road. You did it for a while. You just now she's been signed. But a lot of things have happened. But what to you is the best and worst part about wrestling? That's what she said.
Maybe the travel. I don't know.
Yeah, the travel sucks. I don't know. The best is probably going to be the different people that you meet, honestly, because I feel like I found, like when I was growing up, I didn't really have a lot of friends that liked wrestling. So now I'm totally nerding out. But now I'm actually the one that's kind of like the outsider, because my friends are even more nerdy into stuff. And I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. I'm sorry. But yeah, so stuff like that, and just, I don't know, you kind of feel like, oh, these are my people sort of thing. Like, you guys get me on a certain level that other people don't.
Sure.
So that's really cool. And then getting to travel is like the benefit and the curse. I get to travel, so I get to meet new people and see new places if I have time. But on that, you also have to either like drive, like say this Sunday, I'm pretty consistent with MAW recently, Midwest All-Star Wrestling in Minnesota, and it's about 5 to 6 hour drive from me. So depending on the day, if it's a Sunday show, sometimes I'll drive in that Saturday so I could crash, have the show, which is usually earlier in the day on Sunday because it's a day show, and then drive from the show just straight home 6 hours. Or if it's a Saturday show, doing the opposite, where you're driving straight to the show, having the show, crashing, then driving home the next day.
Wild. Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah. I can see why that's the worst part now. So
Right.
All right, next up was episode number 87 was the now Iron Spirit Pro champion CJ Esparza. We talked to him right before his first match with Brubaker. He ended up winning it in the rematch. It was cool to talk to CJ. Get to see him at every show now. Episode number 90 after that was Brooks Berna, the third Coyote that we interviewed out of the four. And he was fun. He was shooting on some people, telling us the Tyler Pregel potato salad story. He had a lot of good fun stories. And then the last guy we've had on the podcast was member of 815, the King of the North himself, Gunner Brave, a Black and Brave graduate. He was fun to talk to, one of my favorite guys on the independent scene. Always love talking to him. Really cool guy, down to earth, just loves it and wants it. And so those were the list of wrestlers. Now I just want to throw out a couple people that was also on the podcast, not wrestlers, but affiliated. We had Kev Kellum on there, who is a local DJ. He is also affiliated with AAW. We had Rabbi Jeremy Fine, who is the owner of Second Wrestling in Chicago. We had Gage Bright on, who was ring announcer for Zawa Live Wrestling. We had Brent from the AWI pod, which you guys have been on their pod too as well before.
Yeah, can we talk about him first? Can we talk about a work in progress really quick? Thank you to those guys as well. They've been big supporters. I just want to throw that out there really quick.
Dick Blood.
Dick Blood.
Right. Yeah. I was checking out their pod just the other day too about their Rumble coming up. So yeah, go check out those guys. He's been on the pod. We've had a couple of our friends, Adam and Dylan, on the pod. The last two I want to mention are two guys that have kind of did a lot for our podcast on the side. Is First, Logan Bruce. He was the
Logan.
first. He was the Iron Spirit Pro owner. We had him on the pod. Fast forward to now, AJ and I work for him. I'm a ring announcer. AJ's commentary. We do ring setup, show setup, everything that goes along with the show from coming up to down. I hustle for sponsors now. I hustle for venues now. We're going to Champaign in May.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's really kind of helped out with our involvement with wrestling.
Yeah, he's boss man.
Yeah, he's boss man. So and we have a lot of fun with him, except for like sometimes at about 11 o'clock at night when we're putting that ring back up at the end of the day is when we tend to have a little extra fun. No pun intended there at all. But no, I couldn't thank Logan enough, man. I love working with him.
Yeah.
I feel like since we came on and kind of started elevating this company, doing more things, we're getting more eyeballs on it, more people in the seats. Primo's coming in February for the February show. He's coming to visit.
So goddamn time
for the Iron Spirit Pro.
I'm the worst worker of Iron Spirit Pro.
Right.
We are going to put you to work.
So thank you to Logan for letting us, be involved and have fun with this. It's all about our love for wrestling, right? And to be, talking, and then a year and a half later, we're working hand in hand with keeping this, helping this company grow, man. So it's been fun. And then the last guy I want to mention is another guy personally that I've met through Hartenbauer and other guys that's helped me meet a guy named Jay Repsol. He was on the podcast. He's the owner of Dreamwave Wrestling. He's made a lot of things happen in my wrestling world here lately that I'm loving and didn't know that I needed, didn't know that I wanted to do so bad, and I have this newfound love to be a ring announcer, and I'm doing it for Iron Spirit Pro. I'm doing it, on the side for Dreamwave, and I did a Dreamwave show. That blows my mind that even happened before. So thank you to Jay for making that happen. He officially gave me a job the last time I seen him. So, thank you again for that job, man. And all of this stuff, all in this, big bowl of everything we've just talked about is brought this podcast to 100 episodes, in some little small way or big fashion. So I want to thank everybody. And yeah, I was saving him for last, but another guy that he's kind of the fourth sit down mark on the show. He's threatening to start the stand-up. Michael comes on. I like bringing Michael on because we all think about wrestling in different avenues and genres. Michael likes to deliver his in a little more of a passionate background, so to speak.
Yeah,
he'll tell you if you're wrong. So his perspective is good. So thank you to Michael. He'll continue to be on the pod for sure.
That son of a bitch.
Yeah, he'll come on you harder than anybody's ever came on you before.
Michael.
Him and Magnum TA.
Yeah. So more guests lined up for the future. Primo, that's probably enough of talking about the past, man. Let's run through some headlines here before we take her home.
Yeah, so let's get to some headlines. So as we know, with Vince McMahon returning to the board of directors, Stephanie has officially put back in her resignation and stepped down. However, we do know that Triple H is still firmly head of creative. So hopefully that lasts because we are enjoying the product. So,
I was very angry when it was announced that Vince came back. I was like, no.
Nobody wants him back.
Yeah. What can you do though? Out of our control. Oh, so also along with that, so there's also a ton of sale rumors. A lot of sale rumors for like Disney. A lot of sale rumors for Saudi, which is all. So right now, that's all just bullshit and farts in the wind at this moment. But none of it's real until it happens. You know what I mean? But that would suck.
What do you? Yeah. There's also been speculation about the Khans buying WWE. What would happen if that were a thing?
I don't want it to happen because then we get all of our mainstream wrestling, except for Impact, under one family's roof, and we've already done that before.
And it resulted in the ruthless aggression era.
Yeah, I'd love to just like kind of. I hope somebody else buys it. So
aggression.
Not the Khans.
No, I agree. Not the Khans.
So we've mentioned it earlier during the Hard to Kill results, but Santino Marella has officially signed with Impact Wrestling, and currently is in the Director of Authority role.
Interesting. Hope he brings some humor to the show. That'd be fun.
Just seeing him makes me laugh. So yes.
True.
Money in the Bank, WWE Money in the Bank 2023 is going to be at the O2 Arena in London.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah. They'll sell that place out in 10 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If
Absolutely.
not, they'll tell us they did.
You're right. It'll be sold out in 24 hours and all that shit.
The biggest crowd ever.
Ever. WWE 2K23, the video game, is set to be revealed on the day of this year's Royal Rumble. So the 28th, I believe. Which is pretty cool. If they follow up this past year's WWE 2K22, I bought and played. It was the best WWE game that they've had in a while.
Nice.
So
who's on the cover of this new one?
I don't know. I don't think they revealed that yet.
They'll reveal that, yeah.
Hopefully Sasha Banks.
Yeah, okay. I mean, fat chance. I mean, I would like that, but WWE, they hold grudges.
Of course, it's Nikki Ash.
Yeah. So
Archer.
Chris Masters, who is also a free agent at this moment, he says that he would love to have a return at the Rumble and have a Master Lock versus Hurt Lock challenge. So, little in case you guys don't remember, back in the day, he used to have the Master Lock challenge. And what's funny is the person who was the first person to break the Master Lock was Bobby Lashley.
How about that?
Who now does the Hurt Lock? Yeah. So
storytelling.
Yeah, right. Long term. Yeah. So
long term.
It is also rumored right now that the WWE may be interested in Hikuleo.
Hikuleo.
Yeah.
That'd be good for him. Yeah.
They going to bloodline him if they pick him up?
They should NXT him first.
Yeah.
NXT him.
Yeah,
he would be good. He would be good.
He's got
for
a good
NXT.
look and he's big.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I like it.
He's already been on AEW. Obviously, he's all over New Japan.
Yeah, Impact.
But
he's been on.
I just don't see him putting him right on the main roster.
Yeah.
And lastly, speaking of AEW, Jade Cargill. No disrespect, man. Jade Cargill has broken history by becoming the longest reigning champion in AEW.
I thought you were going to say she has a broken hip. I was like, no.
Broken hip.
So she's the longest champion ever.
In
AEW.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yep. And that is it for those.
Nothing like a good news giggle.
For this January 16th edition, ya marks.
Good stuff, man. Let's roll on in, man. Primo, give us that preview of next week, sir.
So, preview of next week is going to be... Just kidding.
Hey, guys, this is Mr. Havens, the Argyle assassin himself, giving them all the shivers. And you're listening to DB, Primo, AJ, here on the Sit Down Marks podcast, the best podcast for professional wrestling.
That's right. So, as we venture off to the backside of 100, we'll have the pod to get you ready for WWE Saudi Arabian Royal Rumble 2023. Just kidding. That's funny because I just talked about that. WWE Royal Rumble surprise predictions, final winner predictions, and more. Also, DB will host a game of Square Circle Questions, the OG trivia game of the pod. That's right. Before he puts out that prestigious...
Oh, yes.
Kurt Angle. Sweet baby Kurt.
Oh,
coming
sweet
back
Kurt.
to Daddy to make me the 4-time champion.
Hello, Kurt. I
Once
miss
again
you.
at the Royal Rumble. So stay tuned next week to see what numbers we draw for the Rumble, as this is probably the most unpredictable Kurt Angle Trophy defense of the year. I won it last year. I plan to win it this year.
Probably.
All right.
Finally, we will talk about the Iron Spirit Pro Show Brotherhood in Normal, Illinois on January 27th. Thank you all once again for downloading and subscribing. The rise of downloads really kept us motivated through the first 100 episodes. They really did. Whenever we saw, those numbers go up, we just didn't matter. Didn't matter when we first saw 50 downloads, when we first saw 100 downloads.
Mhm.
Like we got hyped every time. So it's
For
never
sure.
lost on us, and we don't take it for granted. So thank you again so much, and we hope that trend continues in 2023. Happy wrestling. Luchadere out.
All right, boys. Any final thoughts here? You guys want to talk about 100 episodes, a blink of an eye. It all goes by fast, right? We're hitting the 2-year mark here, a little over a month.
I mean,
month and a half.
100 episodes, like, we're professionals now at this point, right?
Sure. I'm about to buy a professional microphone.
That's what they say, right? Yeah.
After 100 episodes, then you're a professional.
It really did go by fast. Like, in 2 months, we're going to be hitting 2 years.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
And you going through that memory lane of all the wrestlers and other people that we've interviewed, that's just wild. Because you think about all that, When you talk about us back in Sportinarium days, when we first met Thomas Bryce, to when it became SportzWire, and how we've been on every single Friday night.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I used to get so pumped to hearing, they used to play this, like, on Sportinarium, they would play like this remix of 80s songs.
Yeah. I still love
before our pod came on, and I would like be so excited to hear that 80s, because as soon as that thing turned off and like 6 o'clock hit, like our pod came on, I was so pumped, man. That was awesome.
It's been a fun ride. I'm looking forward to the next 100.
Yeah, me too. It was fun getting the Kurt Angle trophy involved. I'm gonna give a little snippet here. I don't know that we've ever even talked about this before, but so after AJ takes us home, the music hits. There's still another small snippet that's always at the end of the pod that we started doing. I can't remember, at least 40.
I'd say about 30, 40 episodes ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Little pod Easter egg that we throw in.
Yeah. So those are fun. So those are a thing if you didn't know they were a thing, if you're still listening. So that's fun. I want to thank any promotion that we've worked with, i.e. including Iron Spirit Pro, Dreamwave, New Wave Pro, CCW out in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Everybody, Zawa, of course. Anybody, thank you so much that's helped out for the pod. It's been totally fun, man, but let's make a decision. I got 2 questions for you. We're going to make a decision, and then we're going to put them to bed forever on episode number 100, okay? There's 3 of us here. We're going to make a decision. We're going to put it to bed. First question, who wins, pancakes or waffles? I'm voting pancake.
So I got to say, over all the interviews we've done and out of all the times I've asked that question,
sure.
Even if you go back and count our old podcast, 20 Minutes With.
Sure.
I got to say, the overall favorite by a landslide is pancakes.
Right.
That is correct. It
Right.
is
Okay.
pancake. It is objectively correct.
So pancakes takes checker flag, goes home, the official winner.
Yes.
Screw your pockets of syrup in the waffle.
Fuck your pockets.
All right.
I think waffles are just more fun.
Yeah.
Fuck a pocket.
The
They're more fun.
other tainting question out there: Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris? Who's going to take it home? I'm going to be a Bruce Lee guy all the way through. I'll stand on my heel and die. Who wins it, guys? Who took it home?
Oh man,
Bruce Lee. That one wasn't even close. It was Bruce Lee by a million.
I feel like Bruce Lee was early, and then everybody started jumping on the Chuck Norris bandwagon. So, but it depends on So we'll put those together for the end of the pod and put those.
Know who this is, right?
Next Stranger.
Of a ranger.
Oh yeah.
I love that he sings it himself.
That's right. I mean, what couldn't he do, right?
Right.
All right, boys.
The eyes of a ranger are upon. Okay,
All right,
so I grew
boys.
up
It's
on
been
Walking
100
Stranger.
episodes. It's time to take her on home, man, for this 100th time. Keep spreading the good word of wrestling. Let's go on, man. Let's see what happens on the backside of 100. AJ, Primo, thank you guys for 100 episodes, brothers.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank
Y'all are
you.
Y'all are the men. I don't care.
Yeah, top guys.
What y'all say, y'all are my brothers, and I appreciate it.
Right.
Love you too, buddy.
Same way.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, guys. And let's keep going, man. AJ, take us home.
Mickey James.
Hardcore country.
So I can probably say without a doubt, and I shouldn't even see. This is why these snippets are good. I shouldn't even say this. This is not even something to be proud of. It's something I thought of today. I think I could probably safely say for 100 episodes, I've probably been stoned for every episode of this podcast.
You know what I call that?
And you might listen to yourself and go, "Oh, well, that fucking makes total sense." I get it now.
That explains it.
Yeah.
I call that consistency.
Yes. Like I don't know what you'd be like if you weren't stoned during one of these. Oh, Dallas just scored. I would
12-0 Cowboys.
That's right, baby.
Yeah. All right, let's take her home.